Voice17104.com. This is Zanetta Wingfield, and you're listening to The Voice 17104.com. The Voice 17104.com. Welcome to Did You Know? Podcast, your host, Richard Utley, dedicated to the African American viewers. The program is aimed to celebrate African American culture and deal with the real and relevant topics that impact the everyday lives of the African American community through frank and insightful dialogue with local and national influencers. Every day, there is another horrible, discouraging news story, directly or indirectly, impacting African Americans. But we need to look at the shining stars in the galaxy of Black America. It is time to tell our story.
Good evening, and welcome to another Did You Know? Well, ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to have a special program tonight because I think it's very important that we have a discussion about something. And before I bring my guest on and before we talk about it, I just want to say a few things. As I've always told you, we need to do our own history, and we need to learn to shape and be able to tell our own story. I was watching a program on TV the other night, and it struck me when one of the producers who were developing TV shows for Black America said, you know, it's important that we produce the show, hire the people on the show, but to be able to tell the story, to tell our own story. Because we know if we tell our story, we know we're going to tell it right. We're going to tell it truthful. You know you're going to tell it right and you're going to tell it truthful because we always have critics that will always evaluate what we do. But I'm going to lead you off with this tonight. Armed with the knowledge of our past, we can, with confidence, chart a course for our future. And that's by Malcolm X. Think about that. And the reason I brought that up tonight, because I think you need to know history. And I think if you know history, you'll be able to balance what life is, where it's going, and where it's been. But before I do that, bring my guest on, I just want to give you a couple things for you to think about, because I told you this is about Did You Know? I was reading something about Alabama, and it said, Alabama will never change. And I thought about that. I'm sure many of you know the Supreme Court made a decision 5-4 to require the state of Alabama to redraw their lines to create a second minority district, Black district. Because what they did was they only created one, and someone went to the court. They went all the way to the Supreme Court about the redistricting. And guess what? They won. And Alabama was told that they had to go back and redraw the line to create 2 Black districts. But Alabama will never change. So what did you think Alabama said? They said, we ain't gonna do that. We're gonna keep it the way it is. That's right, the highest court in the nation told them to change it. Isn't it remarkable how justice works? If it had been reversed, they would have done it. But it's the highest court in this land told them to change it. But we always know Alabama has always been like that. And those of you who probably don't know or don't remember, and I say go back and do your research, you will find way back when I was just a little one. You know, George Wallace would happen to be the governor of Alabama. And he was told to let some Black students into the University of Alabama. And the governor went to the door and blocked it. Even though the president of the United States told him to do it, he blocked it. He said he would not allow them to enroll or enter. And what happened? John Kennedy, who happened to be the president, had to send 100 troops from the Alabama National Guard to make sure that they were able to go into that school. Now, most of you know, if you don't really know, do your research, you find that most times a lot of the National Guard is under the governor. But John Kennedy had to stand up to that. And the reason I share that with you, to show you some places will continue to fight for things that's not right. And that's why it's important for you to know history. It's very important. A lot of you don't think that, but you need to understand that. Because I think we have such a major issue about Haiti, I decided that I was going to bring on a gentleman that's been on my program before. I'm going to let him introduce himself. I'm going to let him talk to you about Haiti. And we got some questions to talk about Haiti. But before I bring him on and he introduce himself and tell you who he is, I want to give you some history. And I want you to think about this. 1915, United States Marine began the first American occupation of Haiti. Did you hear what I said? 1915, United States Marine, they did their first occupation of Haiti. The official justification was, even though the island was black, they were afraid, they tried to say, that Haiti might allow the Germans, Adolf Hitler, to come over to Haiti. So the U.S. invaded there to make sure that that wouldn't happen. Okay? A large measure desired to put down a popular revolt which threatened the rule of Haiti's dictator as well and business interests. And more than 2,000 Haitians were killed. Now, I'm going to change it just a little bit here because I think there's something that you should probably know and you probably don't know. But, you know, Haiti did a rebellion. And when Haiti did a rebellion way back, and I'm going to have him talk about it, you may not know this, but you should know that when Haitians decided to uprise the slaves in Haiti, because the French controlled them, America again, President Thomas Jefferson blockaded the island to make sure the information would not come to America, thinking that if the slaves in America would know that the slaves in Haiti did a rebellion, they might do a rebellion and revolution as well. That's why I tell you, you got to do your own research and your own history. There's so many things that you don't know, but you hear that little 2 seconds on TV and you form an opinion. Haiti got some problems, but we're going to talk about them tonight. So I just want you to know America's had their hands in Haiti more than once, but you probably didn't know that. Now we're going to talk about that. So right now I'm going to bring my guest on. He's been on before. I'm going to let him introduce himself. I'm going to let him tell you who he is and why I have him on here and why I feel that he can give us a much different perspective, both sides. Sir? Sure.
Good evening, Rich, and good evening, audience. My name is Vladimir Beaufils. I own a commercial cleaning company. Before that, I used to run a nonprofit for many years here in the Harrisburg area. We were actually at one time covered over 8 counties. I am currently a disabled Vietnam veteran. I used to be a firefighter in the Air Force. But prior to all that, I was a refugee from Haiti. I was born in Haiti in 1955, April 21st to be exact. And I left Haiti in 1960 after living in hiding for just under 2 years under the dictatorship of Papa Doc Francois Duvalier and his henchmen, the Tonton Macoute. My family was afraid because my father had escaped about 1.5 years, 2 years before me, finally got my mother out, and then they got me out. But while I was there, a lot of the family were afraid that if these Tonton Macoute, they were President Papa Doc's henchmen, found out that I was alive, they might use me to get my father back. And so that's why I lived in hiding. Many times I could not leave the yard for over a year, like I said, a year and a half. And then only by God's grace, I got on a Pan Am jet on December, I believe it was the 20th of 1960, in broad daylight. Got on the Pan Am jet and made my way to Idlewild Airport, New York City, now called JFK. And we were living in Brooklyn at the time. So that's a little bit of my story. And while I am an American citizen, Haiti's always been my first love.
Before we go into the real crisis of Haiti, and would you just for a few minutes explain to them about where Haiti is in terms of Haiti's here, and in the Dominican Republic, they're both on an island, how it's split. And could you also explain the importance of Haitians were originally French, if I'm correct, and I believe you speak, how many languages you speak there?
Well, we speak French and Haitian Creole. Most Haitians, all Haitians speak Haitian Creole. Many also speak French, and some speak English.
But originally, the French controlled Haiti, and that's where the slaves were. Would you tell them that's because when most people see Haiti, they just see people of color?
Mm-hmm. The island of Hispaniola is separated by a mountain range. To the west is Haiti, now called Haiti, and to the east is the DR, Dominican Republic, which was colonized by Spain, which is why in the DR they speak Spanish. Haitian side of the island was colonized by the French, Napoleon to be exact, and that's why they speak French on the western side. As Rich so eloquently put it earlier, the French colonized Haiti and brought their land barons to Haiti to utilize the slaves to basically raise crops. The French found out that Haiti had a wealth of resources in the land, especially sugar and coffee and other resources. But sugar was the big one because Europe had just learned about sugar. And as we all know how addictive sugar is, a human being can crave sugar. And so they were craving sugar. And sugar quickly became the largest export of the island of Hispaniola, especially Haiti. Back then it was called the Isle of Saint Domingue before it became Haiti. And while it was under slaves and under French occupation, it was the island of Saint Domingue. And then later divided into Haiti and Dominican Republic. But that sugar, the French Army and Navy for 10 bloody years lost over 1 million soldiers and Navy men fighting to keep that little island, because Haiti soon became the cash cow for the French people and Napoleon's war effort, because he was also fighting on another front. He was fighting England as well. So he was fighting a two-front war. This pesky little island called the island of Saint Domingue, Hispaniola, with these pesky slaves on this island. And then he was also fighting England. And he was using the sugar from this island to finance his war against England. Which is, by the way, why the, when he purchased the Louisiana territory, the Louisiana Purchase, Napoleon purchased from, Napoleon sold that to Jefferson and the United States Congress at the time, the Continental Congress. He sold that only because he was desperate for funds, because he had just lost the war against Haiti and lost the ability to get that sugar to finance his other war. And so because he lost his number one cash cow, he was forced to sell the Louisiana Territory, which comprised of approximately 13 what now states, and allowed America to become the land that from sea to shining sea, from the Atlantic to the Pacific. It would have never been a land of sea to shining sea had Napoleon not have to sell that precious piece of property that he was holding on to with no intention to sell. But he was forced to sell it because he needed those millions to finance his war effort.
One other thing I want to do about the history part before we get to the crisis in Haiti as we speak today. Would you please share with my audience, some do know and some don't know, that after the rebellion and the Haitians chased the French out, to tell them about the restitution, that the restitution had to be paid for the whole thing for the slaves because they made them pay. Haiti had to pay back French
That's right.
restitution for a lot of years. That's why they're poor, ladies and gentlemen. Could you please explain that?
What Mr. Utley is communicating on is the fact that, as he said, Jefferson put an embargo on any commerce ship leaving the island of Hispaniola could not come into any of the ports of the United States of America, because he didn't want what the Haitian slaves had just done, which is rebel and win over a superpower of the day, the most powerful army and navy of the day, the French army and navy. They were the most powerful at their time. And yet a bunch of slaves were able to beat them and run them off the island. Well, he didn't want his slaves and all of his other buddies' slaves to find out what those slaves had just done. And what happened was all the other colonial powers, Portugal, Spain, England, of course, France, all of them followed suit, because guess what? They all had slaves too. They didn't want their slaves to find out what the Haitian slaves had just done. They didn't want their slaves to get any ideas. And so they put embargoes against Haiti as well. So now this newfound country, Haiti, trying to gain its independence, had just gained its independence, developing a constitution and all the things that it takes to create a government, now cannot trade with anyone. All ports are closed to Haiti, no commerce. And back then, the lifeblood of any nation were commerce ships going to and fro. There was no telephone, telegraph, there was no other means of communication. The only way to communicate was by the commerce ships coming in and out of the port. There were none for Haiti, because nobody was communicating with Haiti, because they were all deathly afraid of these slaves and what they had just done. So now, many years later, the French, realizing they had the upper hand, put this restitution on Haiti. Said, if you want to trade with us and sell your goods to us, you've got to pay us back the reparations for all the land you took from our land barons. I mean, you talk about a nasty deal. And Haiti had to pay what was the equivalent of today's money, over $4 billion, that Haiti just got done paying here around 1960, 1970, if I'm not mistaken. I could be off on that, but it took decades, literally over centuries, for Haiti to pay that money back to France.
So the word restitution is not new. It's been there. And they did pay the money. Just think, this poor country that didn't have anything, they had to pay all this money back to France. So they basically was pretty well started from the bottom. And there was no way that they had punished them. But I will say this here, I'll go on record and say this. Haiti's been punished ever since.
That's right.
The world has not forgot what Haiti has done. That's why it's important, ladies and gentlemen, that you do your research and you learn these things. You need to learn these things, because sometimes people hear this story out there that the slaves were very combative, they accepted it, they didn't do this all over the world. That's not true. There's a lot of reasons why a lot of things happened the way they did. Let's get back to, there's a lot of stuff going on in Haiti right now. And so I'd like for you to please tell us why are we where we are now. I mean, we got this whole thing about Haiti is known right now for kidnapping, crime, civil unrest, poor health care, and infrastructure. How's it got to where it's gotten to? Best on your knowledge.
Well, it's very very convoluted. It's an intricate woven tale. Basically, what happened, and so many people have no clue. There was a commentator, he passed years ago, but a gentleman by the name of Steve Harvey. He used to talk about the rest of the story. It's so important, as Rich is saying, you need to know the rest of the story. Do your homework, folks. Learn, do a little research. It doesn't take much. We're living in a communication age. You've got Google, you've got Alexa. All you gotta do is talk to the doggone thing and they'll tell you everything you want to know. So we don't have to run to the library and spend hours any longer, like I did as a kid. Those days are long gone. Now the information is at our fingertips, but you gotta wanna know. You gotta wanna care. It's out there. The information is out there. And how I got involved in all of this information is because ever since I come to this country, I've always been told that Haiti is the most impoverished country in the Western Hemisphere. And I come to find out, you know what, that's true. That's absolutely true. But it begs the question, how did it get like that? What happened? When this same island, France fought over for 10 years to not lose. This big cash cow, this pearl of the Antilles, as it was called back in the day. What happened to poor old Haiti to go from such a wealthy nation, a wealthy land, I should say, because it wasn't really a nation yet, to the poorest, most impoverished country in the Western Hemisphere? It's because of the embargoes that Jefferson and the rest of the colonial powers put on Haiti, and then the reparations that France made Haiti pay. That was a devastating, detrimental start to this young nation. It couldn't bounce back from that. There was no way. And then with everything else going on with, we've had earthquakes, we've got hurricanes regularly. Haiti's gone through its share of devastation, and a very illiterate people. To your point today, Rich, what's going on right now, it's not Haitians that are kidnapping, it's a bunch of thugs. It's a bunch of gang members. And most of the gang members, unfortunately, are illiterate young people that grew up and somebody put a gun in their hand, an AK-47, an AR-15, with a bunch of bullets. Now they got power. Now they come together because, just like in America, young people join gangs to feel belonging to something, to feel like they're a part of a family. Well, it's the same thing in Haiti. Those young people belong to a gang because they want to belong to something bigger than themselves. But these gangs have power, and now they realize there's a fortune to be made in kidnapping. It's a quick, easy way to make a buck. And that's what's happening right now in Haiti. There's a few people, but how the gangs basically got started was about 7 or 8 very wealthy families in Haiti that aligned themselves with, guess who? You'll never guess. It's the Colombian cartels. Colombia contrary to what a lot of people don't know or think they know, Colombia has been using Haiti as a drop-off point for its drugs for decades now, because Haiti has not been on the radar of the DEA. And so much of the Colombian drugs were being dropped off in Haiti and then quietly moved from Haiti up and down the east coast of the United States. And so the Colombian cartels have had a huge presence in Haiti. They're the ones that were bringing in huge quantities of guns. And many of these wealthy families got even wealthier, aligning themselves with these gangs. It's the Colombians that actually killed the last president of Haiti, Jovenel Moïse. He was killed by Colombians from the Colombian cartel, with a few Haitians to point them in the right direction.
So what do you see happening in terms of where we're going from here? And the reason I bring that up, I know that the State Department of the United States is telling people not to go to Haiti, not unless it's for emergency or non-emergency people, to just stay, but everybody else should leave. And the reason I'm asking that, because this picture is being painted, and it's just so tragic, because most people, when they paint the picture that everybody in Haiti, everybody is that way, not understanding that it's a few bad apples.
Absolutely.
It's the same in our community.
Mhm.
People think that, no country, no people are monolithic. People need to understand there's different perspectives.
Sure.
But for some reason they want to lump us all in one. So whether it's Haitians, whether it's some other Black Americans, Hispanics, or whatever, they lump everybody together.
Mm-hmm.
So what do you see some of the outcome coming? Because the reason I'm asking that, because I know that basically Kenya has said that they were willing to send a multinational force to help Haiti.
Well, Kenya has just agreed to lead the multinational force. The UN, under the current head of the UN, Mr. Gutierrez, has said, with his group of the Security Council, has agreed that a multinational force needed to get to Haiti's rescue, because Haiti right now is as close to anarchy as anywhere in the world. And there are a few other spots in the world that anarchy reigns. Mm-hmm. Basically, and what I mean by anarchy is anybody has a gun has the power. That's basically what anarchy is. And so that's what's happening in Haiti. And so realizing that, Gutierrez from the UN, certain people at the State Department of the United States and Canada and some other countries have realized that they need to get into Haiti and do something to control this gang activity that's in Haiti and bring some order, bring some peace back to Haiti, so that Haiti can have free and fair elections and really restore a government in Haiti, and also help the police excuse me, help the police in Haiti, who are greatly outnumbered and don't have the weapons that they need to handle these gangs that are being weaponized again by many Colombian cartels and some of these wealthy families that have the money to buy the more sophisticated weaponry. And so Kenya has come to the fore just recently in the last couple of days and said, we will take the lead. We will send 1,000 of our military and police force to help the Haitian police force try to get the upper hand on this gang issue, this whole gang problem in Haiti. I think it's fantastic. Now, there are some so-called civil society folks in Haiti that right away are denouncing that strategy. And they are doing that because of the history, and it's not such a great history, of even the UN and other countries, including, like you said, the US in the past. Haiti has had some bad situations occur as a result of outside countries coming in and trying to force their will on Haiti. I don't believe that will happen this time. If it's done right, and I know that that's a big if, but if it's done right, this can really work to bring stability, to bring peace back into this amazing island, this amazing country called Haiti. That it has some of the best fertile ground of anywhere in the world. Anything will grow in Haiti, fruits, vegetables. I mean, it breaks my heart. I was there in 2021 was the last time I was there. And of course, the whole gang situation has gotten even worse since I've been there. In fact, while I was there, a whole group of American missionaries got kidnapped right down the road from me, from where I was. And when some of my friends here in America heard it, here in Pennsylvania heard it, they thought maybe I was involved in that. So they called right away to find out if I was okay. I got the first call at about 5 in the morning that morning to see if it was me that was one of the people kidnapped. Thank God it wasn't, but it was only maybe 20 something miles down the road from where I was staying that occurred. So I can't go back as much as I want to. I have a ministry going on in Haiti right now, but it's on hold. As so many things are on hold in Haiti because people have had to flee. You're just not safe in Haiti right now because of this gang violence that's going on.
I plan in some time from now, bring a gentleman on that you had introduced me to.
Yes.
But he's on his way back to Haiti now.
No, he's actually he had to get his family out of Haiti.
Okay.
And they're living outside of Tampa, Florida right now.
Okay.
So he was here in PA for about 15, 20 days. That's when you met him.
Right.
But he's on his way back to Tampa now.
But he got shot, I believe you.
Yes, he still has a bullet in him. He's been shot at twice. The last straw was his wife, Mikhail, had a gun put to her head. And that's when he realized he had to get out because his wife now and his babies are in danger. He's got 3 beautiful kids. They were in danger. It was one thing when he was in danger, but now his family was in danger. He realized he had to get out. But he has an amazing accomplishments down in Haiti. He's got a school that educates over 1,200 Haitian kids and feeds each one of them and the staff a hot meal every day, 5 days a week. He has an orphanage of 35 beds that was just finished being built, and just a lot of wonderful programming going on down there to really help the Haitians in his community of Vigny in the county of Arcaye of Haiti.
See, I think stories like that need to be told because people only watch a minute and a half of the news, and they just think they don't realize that the people that live in the country is going through a lot.
Oh, yeah.
And people need to understand the pain that they're going through. Because as you said, the gangs are running it. And I just want to bring this up. I always say this program is Did You Know? We talked about the gangs, where they got the gangs, where they got the guns, where they got the drugs. I just want you to think about America sometimes in our neighborhoods, where the guns come from and where the drugs come from. Because I don't think in our neighborhood we have a lot of ships to bring the guns and planes to bring them here. I'm just saying. I just want you to think of those kinds of things, because I think these things are very important, and that's why I talk about history. Because some things may happen in another country doesn't necessarily mean it might not happen in your country. The other thing is that I understand that you feel that Kenya can kind of help Haiti out. What is the relationship? And I know it's not a good relationship, but you can correct me if I'm wrong. How does the Dominican Republic look at the Haitians?
There's been quite a rivalry of the DR and Haiti for a long, long time. And I'm not really quite sure how it all began, but I know it's been there. There's been a lot of tension on that border. DR always felt that Haiti was less than, quote unquote. And in many ways, it's kind of true, because in the DR, the government pays for education, and Haiti, not so much. There's only maybe 6 or 7 schools that the government actually runs in all of Haiti. So most of the schools are basically Christians from the US and Canada that go and build a school in Haiti, or help people like my friend Benit build the schools in Haiti. He gets most of his funding from Christians here in the United States and Canada. So, that's unfortunately the situation that Haitians find themselves.
So you would say one of the real problems and issues is education.
It is education, absolutely. That's why Benit was so bent on creating schools. He's actually now trying to get a university going, and well, he was until he had to flee. He's looking at getting a university, which would only been the second one in Haiti. There's only one university right now in Port-au-Prince. And of course, it's pretty much shut down now because of these gangs.
I want people to put another thing in perspective. If no education, no jobs, no income, that's part of the problem that we have, even in America, is that no hope, no dream, no vision.
Right.
And you would say that's part of the Haitians people's problem. No hope, no dreams. Where they're going to get a job, how they're going to get a job. So you get these thugs to decide that they're going to run everything because they make the money from drugs and as you said, kidnapping.
Yeah, the word tells us where there's no vision, the people perish. That's very much what's been happening. When you're illiterate, you just don't know. For all of us, no matter how many PhDs you have, one thing is true. You don't know what you don't know. You just don't know what you don't know. I mean, it may sound cliche, but it's really very true. And I have to remind myself all the time, Vlad, remember, you don't know what you don't know. That's why I focus on my best to try to stay humble, to try to stay teachable, because I have to remind myself I don't know what I don't know. I can't allow myself to get too haughty, to get too prideful, because there's so much I don't know that I'm constantly learning every day. The reason I'm writing a book right now on Haiti was because I heard about this, the most impoverished country in the Western Hemisphere, when no one ever told me how it got like that. So I decided to do my own research and find out for myself, how did Haiti get like that, and how are we at where we are right now? Because my family had a very intricate part in the whole history of Haiti, with me being a refugee, my father having to escape, and so on. So it became very much a part of who I am.
And people should understand that. And that's why, as I said earlier when I started this program, that we have to tell our story. We have to have people like you come on to tell the story, to kind of understand it. Because like I said, everybody now is just looking at Haiti on the news for 2 minutes, or you see all these flash bulletins. The United States State Department says, don't go to Haiti, don't go to Haiti, don't go to Haiti. And I just happened to have a conversation with some people that made me click to want to bring you on, because they were like, oh, that Haiti's bad. Oh, you can't go there. And I said, well, they've had problems for a long time. And they looked at me like, I don't know what you're talking about. What kind of problems could Haiti be in?
People don't know about problems right here in this country, let alone another country that they don't know much about, called Haiti. I want to read to you a note that a young lady that I met at the orphanage that Benit runs. Her name is Sarah. I met Sarah when she was a young girl. Well, it's been 10 years ago. When she was 8, no, she was 7. She's now 17. And her and I have communicated through WhatsApp, and she likes to call me Dad. I'm not really trying to encourage that, but she doesn't know her father. Her mother left her for dead, basically outside on the street outside of the orphanage, as her mother went to prostitute herself in Port-au-Prince as a way to make a living and eat that day. But she knew she couldn't take care of Sarah, her little baby girl, so she left Sarah outside of the orphanage when Sarah was only maybe 2. Like I said, I met Sarah when she was 7 in elementary school down there. But she wrote this to me April 23rd, 2023. She wrote and said, bonjour, papa, how are you? which meant, hello, Dad, how are you? I said, hello, my dear Sarah, I am well by God's grace. I pray you are also. She wrote, thanks for that, Dad. Right now, we're all upset. There are people who have left their homes because the gangs have come to murder them. We too may be going to leave where we are because of this, without knowing where to go. We are mentally dead, Dad. Never forget that I love you very much, Dad. If any time I am not part of this world, never forget that I'm proud of you. This is a note that I got from this precious little girl the morning of April 23rd on WhatsApp. I mean, I was so choked up I couldn't even reply. I didn't know what to say because she's scared, as so many of them are scared for their lives, because these gangs are going up this Route 1 from Port-au-Prince through St. Mark all the way to Cap-Haïtien. And that's where Benit's compound is, right off the road there, where he has the compound, where he has schools and the orphanage and his church and everything else. And that's all she knows. That's where she's lived since she was 2.
Could you read that again? And the reason I want you to read that again, because we have to learn to put a human face to things. We have to become much more humane about things. I mean, we think of Haiti and say, well, too bad it's over there and shame on them, not understanding that there are people there like us.
This beautiful young lady, 17 years old, Sarah, said, thanks for that, Dad. Right now, we're all upset. There are people who have left their homes because the gangs have come to murder them. You can't imagine how many people have actually walked away from everything they know, their little bit of home. We too may be going to leave where we are because of this, without knowing where to go. We are mentally dead, Dad. We are mentally dead, Dad. Never forget that I love you very much, Dad. If any time I am not part of this world, never forget that I'm proud of you. She was thinking she could die at any moment when she wrote this to me. This little 17-year-old who just is graduating high school has no future as far as she's concerned.
Excuse me, where are some of these people going? I do know that a lot of them, or some of them, thought that they were going to come to the U.S.
Sure.
And it ain't happening the way they thought it was going to happen.
Of course.
So where are they going? Because I just real quickly, before you answer that, I just want you to give them one more history lesson real quick. They explain to them why the DR, remember the DR was Spanish and Haiti was French, and explain to them why they wanted to keep them separate. Because remember, they both had slaves. They both had slaves, ladies and gentlemen. Right. They both had slaves. But remember, Haiti did the rebellion.
Right.
Now, you could tell me if I'm wrong, they did the rebellion because of the way the French treated them.
Right.
And I wish you would just real quickly, just for a few minutes, because we're doing a history lesson, why the rebellion really came, because how the French was treating this slave. And then on the other side, DR, how the Spaniards looked at it a little different. Real quick, so my audience can learn something.
Yeah, I mean, the west side of Hispaniola, the island, had the French colonists there running things and bringing slaves from Africa by the hundreds and thousands, doing their bidding. I mean, they couldn't cultivate enough crops because they, again, like I said earlier, that was the cash cow for the French economy. And so now DR had a different situation with the Spanish. It was the slaves on the Haitian side, with a man, by the way, who was a slave initially on the island of Jamaica, who somehow got brought over as other slaves did, because the colonial powers would oftentimes move slaves from island to island in the Caribbean. Well, this Bookman Duty was moved from the island of Jamaica to the island of Haiti, and he became one of the slaves on the Haitian side of Hispaniola. And he's actually, according to folklore and legend and history to some degree, kind of blames or says that he is the start of the Haitian Revolution against the French. He was the one, because he was educated by the English when he was, because England will colonize Jamaica, French colonized Haiti, Spanish colonized DR, and on it went throughout the Caribbean and most of Latin America. And as we know, English colonized the US until 1776, and we had our revolution, you know.
Mm-hmm.
But what a lot of people forget is that right after America's revolution in 1776, in 1796, Haiti had its revolution, the second revolution in the Americas against the colonial power. And it culminated in 1804, where Haiti declared its independence against the colonial power. DR never did that. Spain controlled DR for many, many centuries afterwards, decades certainly afterwards. So that's why there was always this rift with the folks in the DR as opposed to Haiti. Haitians were a proud people because look what they had just accomplished. I mean, what they did is literally, and any way you want to describe it, a miracle. How could a bunch of slaves with no weapons to speak of fight and win against the most powerful army and navy of the world at the time? I mean, I can tell you how that, but that might be a whole nother show, Rich.
Right.
Exactly how that actually happened. It's amazing how those slaves were smart enough to know how to talk to each other with drums and with instruments hollowed out that they can make these noises, that they can warn the people on the other mountain range that the French were coming. How many were coming, which route they were taking, and the French were ambushed at every turn. And that's how basically the slaves in Haiti won the war, by being able to ambush the French troops as they went from place to place trying to overthrow.
See, that's why I think history is so important, because basically, especially many people are saying that some people, a lot of people of color, are not bright. They're not smart. I mean, that's the way it was set up.
Unfortunately, that's true.
Unfortunately, that's the way it was
Yeah.
set up. But if you learn your history and you do your research, you will find that is not the case.
That's right.
I mean, just think about it. Just think about it. They were able to figure it out. They had to come up with some kind of solution
Yep.
in order to do it. You said they fought for 10 years.
10 years.
10 years. Nobody don't tell you that. You know why? They tell you how bad Haiti is, but they didn't tell you how Haiti got to where it is.
That's right.
Now, the day you learned something today, you found out they might have won the war, but I'm not sure they won the battle overall.
Mm.
But I think that's important to know. And I think our young people need to know all these things, because some of it that has happened there is the same kinds of things that you can kind of produce in America.
Mm-hmm.
Some of the very same things. And that's why I always say it's important about education.
Absolutely.
Education is a way for you to maybe get to the next step. But if you stay dumb and ignorant, that's where you're going to be.
No progress can be made without education. You must have education for any type of progress to happen, for any peoples of anywhere in the world. And do we remember what some whites used to say about the slaves right here in this country? If you want to hide something from a black man, what'd you do with it? Stuck it in a book. Because blacks were made not to read. They didn't want blacks to be educated. Well, it's the same thing.
Same identical thing, ladies and gentlemen. You might have didn't think of it that way, but if you look at it in America, you looked at Haiti, it's the same thing. You know, at first we weren't allowed to learn to read. We weren't allowed to read and write. That's why I'm so passionate. I get so upset when we have opportunities to learn to read and write, and we don't take those opportunities.
Amen.
That's our fault. But maybe if we tell our kids that, maybe, just maybe, we'll be able to reach some of them. We may not be able to reach them all, but we may be able to reach some of them.
Amen.
I mean, I go back and I think of my mother and my father. Of course, they grew up in the South, and I remember some of the stories that I know that my mother, I saw her. I mean, I know that she worked in the fields and the tobacco and the cotton, and my father had shared with me that they did go to school, but then when it was time to pick the crops, Black folks had to go pick the crops. The rest of them could go to school. But see, we act like we don't want to talk about that and we don't want to understand that. That's why I say it's important for us to learn to read and write. That's why I say it's important for us to go to the schools and find out what they're teaching, make sure your kids can read and write. That's why I say to you all the time, you need to get involved in your community. I said something to a young man the other day, a friend. I said, why don't you volunteer and do this? And they, well, I did that before. Well, if we all did that, we're going to be in trouble. All of us have to reach back and continue to pull up. Continue to pull up. We have a responsibility. I believe we have a responsibility to do that. Time is flying, and we got about a few minutes. What do you want to say to the audience about Haiti?
Just that Haiti is a beautiful place. Haitian people are the most warm, loving people you will ever meet, even though they have nothing. Many Haitian Christians, all they have is their belief in their Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. It's all they have to hang on to. They don't know where their next meal is coming from. We do. See, in Haiti, there is no Social Security. In Haiti, there is no welfare department, welfare from the government. In Haiti, you have none of those privileges that we have here in this country that so many take for granted. Haitians don't have any of that. If you're elderly or you're disabled, if you don't have someone in your family that cares something about you, you'll starve to death and you'll just die. That'll be the end of it. If you don't have somebody take care of you when you're old and feeble or whatever the situation is, have a disability of some type, you're stuck to, it's a bad situation. And so people in Haiti understand the importance of loving thy neighbor as thyself. Unfortunately, there are just a few bad characters, just like there are in anywhere you go, anywhere in this country, any city in this country. There's always some bad characters. Evil reigns in the world, unfortunately. We have good, but we also have evil. And evil oftentimes has the upper hand in some places until enough good can prevail, enough people of faith and people of prayer will come together. If my people that are called by my name will seek my face diligently, then he'll hear from heaven. Those are the kinds of things that have to happen. We've seen it before. I know there's no question in my mind that God intervened and allowed Bookman Duty and those poor slaves on the island of Hispaniola that were fighting the French win that battle, because there was, outside of divine intervention, it was impossible to happen. It had to be a miracle. There's no way it could have happened. And that's why the rest of the world took notice. And the rest of the colonized world kind of hated Haiti for allowing that, for having that happen, because they saw themselves in that same pickle. They could have been the French. Portugal could have been there. That's why they put the reparations. That's why they put the embargoes. They did everything they could to stop that word from getting out. And you know what? It's still happening today. You don't see what happened in Haiti in any history book anywhere. It's just not there. Why? It's history. Why is it not in the history books when it's history? I'd like for somebody to answer that one for me.
That's a very good question that you said. And I guess we looking at it the same way in America. Why are a lot of things not in the history book? But I will say to my audience, then it's up to you to do your research. It's up to you to find out some of the things about your family. Some of you will be very surprised if you think about the legacy of your family down the road. We sometimes form an opinion based on the little bit of knowledge we know, and we don't always know the right knowledge or the correct knowledge. But I'm telling you, we all will find there have always been, in all of our families, some diamonds in the rough.
Amen.
I want to thank you all for tuning in this evening. I'm going to bring him back on. I'm going to bring the young man back on. I promised him that I would bring him on because it's important that we tell our story. And if I have to be an outlet to tell a story about Haiti, then I'm willing to do it. We have to do it. We have to control the narratives of our stories. If we don't, shame on us. So thank you for tuning in to Did You Know? And I'll see you when I see you, which will be the third Tuesday of the month. Thank you for tuning in, and I hope all of you learned something tonight. And those of you who didn't, still put a question mark in your mind. Just think about some of the things that were said that you may be able to apply to Haiti, but I want you to apply it to America. Thank you.
Thank you for joining the Richard Utley Show on The Voice 17104. We will be here on The Voice 17104 every first and third Tuesday from 6:30 p.m. to 7:30 p.m. Once again, thanks for viewing. Remember to visit us on Facebook at Richard Utley, and we welcome your questions and or comments.
I read the comments. I can read my phone. They don't know it. They don't care. No, it's not.
Gotta educate yourself.
See, I had market for conscious, CIA,
Oh boy.
looks.